Welcome, everybody. We're so excited to have you here at the Wild Reawakening New Moon and Taurus Circle. We really appreciate you joining us. This is our first experience doing this live with all of you. So welcome, and we are looking forward to having many more of these. My name is Amy, and I'm an intuitive energy coach and Moon Circle leader with Wild Reawakening. This is something that is really close to my heart. I've been doing this for several years. Following the moon energy has made a huge difference in my life. And I love coming on here and sharing it with all of you. I'm going to pass it on to my co-host, Kendall.
Hey everyone, I'm Kendall. I'm with Wild Reawakening as well. And I have my own creative site, The Bohemian Tarot Girl, where I've created a tarot deck. I'm a tarot nerd, and I love all the stuff associated with astrology, the moon, and of course, tarot. So I'm excited to be here for this event and working with all these wonderful women to get connected and really come together in a group to heal.
So we want to just go ahead and take a little bit of time to kind of set the space and set the intention for this circle. I think it's really important when we come together, or even when you're doing your own work, that you kind of create a very energetically vibrant space for you to work in. It kind of just lets the universe know that you are getting ready to really access the energy and work on yourself and create some really solid intentions. So one of the things that we always do at the beginning of circle is have my sage here. Just kind of like clear the space, clear the energy. Kendall has some sage mist that we got from, do you want to
Moonwater Elixirs.
That's it.
Which I love.
I was not prepared with the name. So we do that. And then we always there's a saying that I would use in the circles that I would do in person. And it's sky above, earth below, peace within. And if you would like to say that with me as we go through, we say it 3 times. And at the end, we say peace within 3 times. So here we go. Sky above, earth below, peace within. Sky above, earth below, peace within. Sky above, earth below, peace within, peace within, peace within. So, like, welcome you to the circle. This is the circle for the Taurus new moon, and that is happening on May 19th at 8:53 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So go ahead and adjust that accordingly to wherever you are in the world. And this new moon, the new moon happens when the sun and the moon come together in the sky at the same place, which is why you can't see it in the sky. With new moons, we usually start with really embracing that energy to set intentions and kind of look forward to what we want to bring into our life, which we will be doing later on as we move through the circle today. The new moon in Taurus has that energy of Taurus being ruled by Venus. It is a very feminine energy, but it's all of the good things. Taurus is very methodical. It's very calm. It's very set in a direction. It really likes the finer things in life. And this energy is coming in at the perfect time for that. And the reason why we kind of get together and do this in a circle is that when we are in circle together, it gives us the opportunity to kind of co-create. We align ourselves with the energies of the moon. We work together as women, or I mean, you don't have to be a woman to do this work, but we tend to have a lot of women join our circles. It gives us just this opportunity to really focus our intentions and to co-create and collaborate and to watch each other's journey and really work together. There's been, with the work that I've done with circles, I've seen so much progress in everybody. It's like you kind of have this ability to come home to yourself and to discover parts of yourself that you may not have noticed or recognized or didn't even know existed, and realize that not only is everything energy and we work in cycles, but you have the ability to align yourself with those cycles and to utilize that energy to create positive change in your life. So I'm going to pass it over to Kendall so we can talk about some of the astrological insights as to what is going on here.
Oh, this is the stuff I like here. Let's see if I can. Here is what I'm excited about. So you can see right here, this is the chart for the new moon, and we're looking at it at its peak time. I'm of course using, because I'm in Washington State, I have the Pacific Standard Time on there. So that is the peak here. If you need to adjust it for your own time, just realize that. I think the key thing that we're looking at here in the chart is really that you're going to see all those planets, and they're all sitting in the section for Taurus, right? So we have the sun, we have the moon, we have Jupiter, we have Mercury, Uranus, and of course the North Node. So if you have, if you're one of the fixed signs, so if you're a Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, and you're in the degree of 24 to 30 in any of your placements, that's where you're going to receive some extra luck, because we have these trines, and trines are really, they're the chart being synchronized, right? And so you have signs that are aligning and coming together, and that means that they're in that same position with each other. And so all these trines are forming and providing us with great luck and excitement that's going on, which is wonderful energy for this new moon. We also have one of the other ones that I like to point out is we have the moon sextiling Mars, and it's really asking us to be daring in our personality. So we have all this Taurus energy with all the grounding. It's helping us out with the energy of our material lives. And so making sure that we have our jobs, our careers, our physical location, how we're living, all those pieces that are connected in our lives. We really want the security and the abundance that Taurus is bringing. Taurus is, of course, associated with that Venus energy. And so you have all those material and abundance and all those great things that we love here on the physical plane brought in with this energy. We have Jupiter in that North Node with the sun and the moon. And of course, that's bringing us extra luck in those areas. So just remember, fixed sign people, you have extra luck at this moment. And then with that Mars energy and the moon, it's really asking you to dare. And so we have a tendency with this Taurus energy to linger and be a little more methodical. And what the energy is actually helping us out by asking us to be a little bit more out there, a little more pushing for our dreams. So that's really important. We also have the moon in a strong trine with Pluto, and that's forming. And that's why I really want to bring that one out. So we have aspects that are, of course, leaving during this moon and also being brought in. And so Pluto is actually forming during this new moon time. And it's really a transformation of the self and really a transformation of our surroundings. So being able to see the world in a new light and ourselves in a new light is really key for this new moon. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing here and we'll jump back in.
Yeah, there's so much energy that is happening with this moon. And if you haven't listened to our video on Wild Reawakening on YouTube, we go into much greater detail on all of the different aspects that are happening and how this is affecting us after that big lunar eclipse that we had in the full moon of Scorpio, which was a couple of weeks ago, which really impacted people in a big way. I feel like so many people went through major endings and transitions and life-altering situations. And now we have this new moon that is coming in, and it's creating space so that we can really lay the groundwork for what we want to jump our future into. Mm-hmm. And it's giving like a really solid, stable foundation for that. And it's kind of asking us, and this is kind of what our theme for this moon circle was when we were talking about it. We were talking about what we wanted to kind of focus this circle on in particular with this energy that's coming in. and really asking us to harness our inner strength and tap into our gifts and access our inner resolve and really kind of create the life that we want, but also to align ourselves with the path that is going to be the most beneficial for us in the future. So, all the planets are lining up in Taurus. That's a lot of Taurus energy to work with, um, which I'm a Taurus, so I like, but I also know that there are lighter and darker aspects to each thing. To each sign in particular, you'll find evolved Tauruses and you'll find unevolved Tauruses. And the unevolved aspect of Taurus is that they can sometimes sit back and not really take advantage of their opportunities, and they can kind of be a little lazy because they're comfortable. So if you're feeling a little uncomfortable right now, it's probably good because it's trying to propel you into a new direction and to really like access a possible future that maybe you don't even have the ability to comprehend at this moment.
I love that. It really is all about stop selling yourself short during this time. And I feel like so many people have done so much transition and change that at this moment, we really need to stop and take a breath. And that's what we're going to be working on as we go through Circle, is figuring out those pieces that are really blocking us from moving forward into our new self and path. And that's what I love about being in Circle, is that it gives us a chance to do work as a group and by yourself in order to do some healing. So I love that. Do we want to pick a card before we get started?
Let's pick some cards and see what they have to say for us.
All right. I'm going to try it this way, and if not, I'll have to switch cameras. So let's see what I got going on here. And I have a deck called the Illuminated Earth Oracle. It's gorgeous. I just got it this weekend, actually, while I was traveling in Birch Bay with my friend. And I'm just going to pick 3 cards here, 3 oracle cards. So as I'm shuffling here and picking those cards, I want you to think about whether or not you want card 1, card 2, or card 3. So just go ahead and feel into that. Go with your intuition and select the number that comes to you right away. All right, I have the 3 cards here. And I'm going to read the meaning really quickly. And we'll also post them online so you can have a little more time to review it and really feel into the message for yourself. There's also a journal that we've done, and it is available online, and you can actually record your card. I would highly recommend, as you're participating in Circle, that you keep track of what you're learning and what you're accessing, because you can watch yourself grow, and you can also access that information later on and connect it to other transits, Amy mentioned that we're going to go through a cycle here. So there's all these different cycles, and you'll want to look back and look at the energy of this time for a different cycle. And the first one here is Tempest. And Tempest, like the unbridled energy released during an electrical storm, we may find ourselves in a situation that is both violent and activating. Utilize this energy with caution, recognizing it can be a catalyst to both healing and harmful outcomes. So this is both a negative and a positive message. And so you have to be the ones that actually read the energy and you use it for the positive fashion with it. So if you're my number 1, you are Tempest. Number 2 is going to be Potential. And let me find it here really quick. All right. This one's pretty. So Potential. As sweetgrass in fields holds the potential for cleansing and healing, we hold within us the means to create positive effects on others and the world around us. Consider the realm of possibilities and weave the elements of your life together like blades of grass to manifest the highest good. So if you're card 2, you are this beautiful Potential one. And our card 3, we have Upheaval. Let me go there. Amy, what one did you pick?
Number 3, of course.
That's okay. Upheaval can be good. Um, so upheaval, there is a disturbance in the normal order of things. Division caused by unexpected chaos may call for a reordering of a familiar routine. Have faith you'll be able to face the challenges ahead and order will be restored in due time. Seek out resources that are available to assist you. And remember that although we asked you to select one card for this reading, really the message for all of us is within all 3 of these. So listen to the message of all 3 and really feel it out. If you have any insights as you're thinking about the messages from the cards, remember to go ahead and record that in the journal that we've linked here that you can access for free. Okay.
I feel like my whole life has been upheaval, which is how I ended up getting into this line of work.
Exactly. You have to experience the upheaval in order to grow. I mean, if nothing ever changes, then we're never going to move anywhere. We're going to just be stuck, planted in the ground and never changing. So I think it's important to actually have the upheaval come. I know it can be really stressful, and I know a lot of people are going through that right now. And we have some different energy.
There's one thing that you learn after kind of experiencing it over and over is that you gain this confidence that you're capable of landing on your own 2 feet and that you're going to be guided into the right situations and the right places and the right people will come along that you might not have discovered otherwise. So it's not fun, but ultimately it's been really, really good. So looking back, I can appreciate the upheaval.
Yes. And just a reminder, I'll place an image of the cards in our Facebook group, and you guys can look at the cards a little bit more in detail and write down any images that pop out to you, write down any messages that pop out to you, and remember to keep track of that. I know I've said that a couple times, but I feel like that's a really important message, so I keep giving it to you. So there must be something about that right now, is that you really need to pay attention to the messages that are coming to you during this time.
And like you said, we are in a time of, I mean, the moon goes in cycles, the earth goes in cycles, we go in cycles. When we have a new moon, it's initiating a 2-week cycle where the moon is going from having no visibility to being full. And that in itself is a cycle. We also have the cycle between new moon to next month's new moon. And then we also have the complete cycle, which will be a year later. We're also in portal energy with that lunar eclipse that we had 2 weeks ago. Eclipses are portals. You might want to take a look at your own personal astrology chart to see what house Scorpio is in, because that is where that moon was transpiring. And that'll give you an idea of what area of your life may be going through a major shift, because eclipses will kind of take you from point A to point B in a really fast trajectory that is fated, and you really kind of have no control over how it's going to happen. So it's just best to go with the flow. But we are kicking off with the new moon and the ability to kind of start looking at the forward trajectory of things. And so one of the things that I thought would be really kind of cool to do in order to get kind of a visual of what your future life could look like is we have a little bit of a guided meditation to kind of help you tap into that and take a look. So if you are in a place where it's kind of quiet, I would recommend that. I would also recommend that you're not trying to drive or use heavy equipment or be in a place where you aren't able to fully relax. You can go ahead and get into a comfortable position. Now allow your eyes to close and begin by focusing your thoughts on your breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in easily and effortlessly. then breathing out. Each breath allows you to become more relaxed and comfortable. Outside sounds only allow you to go deeper inside, a reminder of how good it is to leave the noise and stress of the outside world and journey into the quiet and peace of your inner world. And as you start to feel a sense of deep relaxation, picture yourself standing before a peaceful lake or pond. Drop a pebble into the center and notice the water rippling out. And as the ripples flow further out and eventually slow down, the water once again becomes quiet and peaceful, and so do you. Now, standing on the edge of the body of water, imagine that there is a light right between your eyes. What color is the light? Picture that light as a bright beam that extends out into space. To start your journey, follow the beam as it leaves this building and travels up into the sky. And as you shoot further into outer space, take a minute to notice the beauty of the earth below, the crystal blue ocean, the serene white clouds. Allow yourself to enjoy this perspective for a moment. And once in the vastness of outer space, you'll notice a nearby light beam of a differing color. Begin to follow that beam back down to Earth. The beam is taking you back to Earth 5 years from now, 5 years into the future. Keep following this beam down, noticing the curvature of the Earth and the geography stretched out below you. And as you come closer to the end of the beam, keep noticing where you are. This is where your future self lives. You, 5 years from now, the highest version of yourself in 5 years. Come into contact with Earth and notice where you are. Notice what dwelling or nature surrounds you. Now move to the dwelling of your future self. What does it look like? What kind of landscape does it have? Are there trees or flowers? If so, what kind? Take your time to get an overall sense of this place and see how it feels to you. Now you approach the entrance. You're about to meet your future self. And as your future self lets you in, take a good look around. Greet your future self and notice the way your future self returns your greeting, welcoming you into this time and place 5 years in the future. What does the future you look like? Notice how you stand, what you are wearing, your overall energy and demeanor. Get a sense of your future self's essence. Now notice the inside of this dwelling. What kind of person lives here? What are the colors of this place? Is anyone else there? Now move with your future self to a comfortable place for a conversation. Perhaps your future self offers you something to drink. Settle in and make yourself comfortable for a talk with your future self. There are questions that you might want to ask your future self. You can begin by asking, what are you doing with your life now? What do you love about your life? And take a moment now to hear the answers. Now ask your future self the following question. What do I need to know to get me from where I am now to where you are? What would be most helpful? And listen to what your future self has to tell you. And when you're done, now tell your future self one thing that is really bothering, hurting, or worrying you right now. And ask, how did you overcome this challenge or heartache? Next, ask, what is our purpose? Finally, ask your future self to tell you one word that is important for you to remember when you're feeling down or need support to keep going towards your goals. What is that one word? Remember it. And as you are about to leave, you notice that your future self has a gift for you. Receive this gift. What is it? What do you notice about it? Ask your future self, what would you like me to know about this gift? And take a few moments to ask your future self any other questions that may be lingering on your mind. And bringing this visit to a close, thank your future self for being here with you today and sharing so much wisdom. Now, take a deep breath, breathing in this experience, remembering what you need to remember. And now find your way back to the beam of light and journey back up the beam, watching this world of 5 years in the future grow ever smaller as you move out into space. Again, you see the ball of blue and green below you, clouds swirling around it. Notice that your beam of light has intersected with a different beam of light that will bring you back to this year and this location. Follow this beam of light back to the present time on Earth As you travel down this beam, notice the earth growing bigger and bigger. Moving farther down the beam, notice the geography of the area, the skyline and landscape of the area, and finally, come back into the space that you are in. And in a few moments, I'm going to count from 3 to 1. When I count to 1, you will be refreshed and ready to remember everything about your inner journey. When you open your eyes, you can take some time to jot down the things that you remember. 3, coming back to present time and feeling more alert. 2, stretching your body and feeling the ground beneath you. And 1, opening your eyes, refreshed and alert. Thank you, everybody. Love to hear in the comments, or if you would like to send us a private message about your experience with that and how it went for you, and if you had any insights.
I love doing a meditation. It really gets you into the right mindset when we're moving on to doing the journal activities and really processing some of the themes that are coming up for this cycle and for this moon, and bringing yourself into a calmer mindset, because we have a tendency to be all over the place and we don't take a moment to really breathe and come together. At this time, we're going to walk you through the journal prompts, and we're going to share a little bit of our own views as we look at the journal prompts that we have in the workbook, just to give you a little bit of, ideas about what's coming up for us. Sometimes it's helpful to hear other people's insights into what's going on in their lives. And so just know that that's all we're doing, is that we're sharing a little bit of insights from our lives. You can use it and kind of build upon it if you want, or you can solely focus on the journal prompts for yourself. At this time, this is the workbook that we have available for you guys for this moon. And I'm going to just scroll through here 1 second, see if my computer will work. Of course. All right, so a little bit about us in the workbook, a little bit about the inner circle. This is the oracle card message area, and of course our journal questions here. I do recommend that whenever you are working on the journal questions, you go ahead and write down the date. With the new moon, we really hope that you focus on it within a 3-day time period of that peak time. So just know that you have a little bit to kind of reflect on these questions and do that. And we just hope that you take the moment and really have some quiet time for yourself as you're doing it. The first one here are what goals around your life are bubbling to the surface. And, with this question, I really look to myself to bring forth those messages, and it's the pieces that just pop into you, right? So if your body speaks to you in this moment and says, maybe you are wanting to go back to school, maybe there is an experience coming up that you want to take part of, those are the pieces that I would really dig into in a little bit deeper in this. Amy, do you have any goals that really have been bubbling up for you through this last little time period here?
Yeah, and it's actually, for those of you who know me personally, and for a lot of you probably don't, but when the North Node switched into Taurus in 2021 in the end, I basically, that was the shift for me of my whole life rearranging itself. And I moved out of the country. I closed my massage practice, which is something I had done for almost 20 years. And there's been a lot that's been bubbling up to the surface because of that. And moving into the type of work that with the moon circles and intuitive energy coaching is something that I've always kind of done, but not fully as my profession. And so with this whole transition that I've been going through, it's really starting, I feel like this kind of, what is the word that I want for this? It's like, it's not just bubbling up to the surface, but it's like insistent.
Mm-hmm.
This is the time of my life that I really need to take everything that I've learned and everything that I've been working on for myself and move into the position of being more of a guide for others to help them through their own transitions and transformations. So that is a big goal that is coming up. And yeah, I'm sure there are other questions on here that will relate to that. So
I love that. That's, you know, with this energy, it is about, pieces like our career and making those larger choices in our life that really affect how we are living in this world. And so that example is perfect. And I love it. So thank you for sharing that with us. The next one that we're looking at here is, how do you define your worth? It's interesting to me, I just came back from going on a trip with my friend who visited from Florida, and we were talking, and that was a piece that actually came up. It was like I had an epiphany in these last really week or so, was really that um, I didn't feel worthy, right? And I didn't feel worthy that um, I was worthy for other people to really support me and to come to me in that piece. And so changing my mindset about how I'm worthy and that I'm worthy for others to really support and come to me has been a huge shift. And it's been interesting because it very naturally came about. It wasn't something that I was really journaling about at the time, because I do find value in really making sure that I'm evaluating my feelings. It was just something that naturally bubbled up and came to me to really look and to dig deeper into with my feelings of self-worth. And that really plays into the work I do, how I show up for others. And so being able to clear that piece has, I felt like, been a breath of fresh air, that I can now feel the energy and the value of being worthy in the work that I do for others. And then the third one here is, where are you compromising yourself? And we have a lot of things that come up in our lives that take over the time that, if we were by ourselves, would naturally allow us to maybe go through some processes. And so, you can compromise for others in your life. You can compromise for fears. You have to think about the fears that hold you back. And so you just have to think about where you're compromising and where you are not really letting things shine through, where you're not taking that step into the new world, right? Amy mentioned the Taurus energy, that how we can, I'm a Taurus rising, so I'm I'm a Libra, my sun sign's Libra, but I'm a rising Taurus, and I'm actually the opposite of Amy there. So we're very similar in energies. And we just have to make sure that we're not letting others overstep themselves. We're not placing value on others or other things in our lives over really what our soul wants for ourselves, right?
yeah,
How do you feel about this, Amy?
it can be a very selfish feeling, and it's something that I struggled with because I've always been a helper and I've always wanted to make other people feel comfortable and that in my younger years, and it's something that I've been working with a lot, became a very much a people pleasing energy.
Mhm.
And it just goes up to how you define your worth, is that I always had a pretty good sense of myself, but I wanted it to be reflected back to me and have other people recognize it. And so when they didn't, that really affected how I thought of myself. Um, and then I would shift into trying to do more to make them see it, which obviously is not the right way to go about it. But I think that I work with a lot of women, and I've seen a lot of women kind of fall into this pattern. And it can be very, very selfish to feel like, or to feel very selfish. It is not selfish. It is okay to be selfish. I think we need to get like selfish out of being like a bad description.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes. Because it's not so much being selfish, but it's recognizing your own needs and your own desires and making that a priority over what someone else wants.
Mhm.
Um, you can offer more of yourself when you're completely whole on your own. And I found that I spent a lot of years doing things that other people wanted me to do and living a life that other people wanted me to live, to my own detriment. And then also, when I started leaning more into what I wanted, those same people, um, it was almost like a fight. You'd have to, because they were so used to me behaving in a certain way and showing up in a certain way and catering to their needs and wants, that when I started putting that energy back on myself, it was not received well. But ultimately, like, you're all you have, and this is your life, and you should live it in a way that feels good to you. And you should have people around you who support you living in your highest vision for yourself, instead of you being the supporting character in somebody else's life.
Oh, I love that. So, and then the last question here is, are you selling yourself short? I definitely feel like I sell myself short in a lot of ways, and I've been really evaluating those pieces. We have a tendency to either think we're not good enough. We have a tendency to think that other people could do it better than us, instead of really being able to allow our gifts to shine and come through. And so being able to recognize where you're preventing yourself, where you're really limiting yourself in sharing your gifts. And I know, I don't feel like, um, you know, I really struggle with sharing things about my career and what I'm doing here and the work that I'm doing. I don't like to self promote. I always feel like that is that negative aspect of money that I've been taught in my life. Like, you don't want to be too showy. You don't want to stand too far out in the crowd. You want to blend in, and you don't want to be that showy person that people are kind of like, ooh. And so that is something that has held me back in my life. And I really feel like now that I see that piece and I see how it affects me, that I need to be able to let it go. And this is that important part where we're learning about what is actually holding us back, right? Because we're at this moment where we're being asked to shine brightly and to really step into and see the gifts that the universe are going to be providing for us over this time. And this is our moment to really clear and think about that energy of selling ourselves short and how we do that. Do you have anything to add there, Amy?
Um, just a little bit, because this is something that comes up for me a lot, especially as I move through things, is that I have the tendency myself to be a forever student. I'm constantly looking at what's next and wanting to know more, and I never feel like I know enough. And I think that that belief kind of gets in the way of me really putting myself at the forefront, because I have acquired a lot of knowledge and I do have the capability of sharing that for the people who are ready to receive it. So if I limit myself and keep myself closed off because I'm worried that I still don't have enough information or that somebody might know more, then I'm not only like keeping myself from really stepping onto this path for myself of what I feel like is really meant for me, but I'm also hiding those things and not making them accessible to people who may be looking for that as well. So
It's important to see where we block ourselves. Because in order for us to shine, we do have to look at those pieces that are really preventing us from being that true self that we are. And journal work is so important. And even that was something that I was talking about with my friend. I was like, I don't take enough time to do the work for myself. I have a tendency to create work and be able to gift and provide stuff for others, but taking that time for myself every morning and doing that journal work has been that new piece that I'm trying to incorporate in my life. And that's super hard, but I'm trying to make that, 5 to 10 minutes just to, have that quiet time. So I'd highly recommend it if you don't do regular journal work. We do put prompts every day online and you can take those and just run with it. And it's, connected to the cycle of the moon. So it's all part of this very similar work that we're doing here.
mm-hmm. Yeah, there's something really magical that happens when you start getting curious about yourself. It's like you start uncovering layers and accessing information, and it's just really a process of discovery. And I don't think that people really take the time to figure out those deeper aspects of themselves, but everything starts to shift when you get curious.
Yeah.
And when you start looking into things, you discover so much about yourself. And then it's easier to align with the things that are meant for you.
And that's what we're really jumping into right now. This next activity for the new moon is really aligning ourselves. And do you want to speak a little bit more about setting intentions? And then we'll talk about the little activity that we have to do with the intention setting.
Yeah, so every new moon, because it is the cycle of basically starting new and then planting a seed and watching it grow as it gets to the full moon. And as we talked about, there are longer cycles that can happen. And the universe has its own time for things. But we like to take the time to really get clear on what we want to bring into our life, which is why we set intentions. It's not, there is I always talk about this. There is a science to this. It's not just wishful thinking. It's kind of like you're co-creating with the universe. And if everything is made up of energy, which it is, and you are an energetic being, you can get into quantum physics, and it's basically like your thought creates the reality. I'm not a quantum physicist. I'm not going to go into detail on that, but there is a theory out there that something has to be created in thought before it can be created in reality. And so that is what we do when we set intentions, is we really try to utilize the energy of the new moon and utilize the energy of creation to think about what we would like our life to look like, how we would like to feel in that life, where we can shift some things. So I recommend when you write your intentions, you write them as if they have already occurred, and you write them about the feeling. And we did a video where we had created intention jars at the beginning of 2020.
Yeah.
And 3 years later, we opened them up to see how many of the intentions had come through. And most of them were written as, things like, I feel abundant. I have an abundance of friends. I have a healthy relationship. You want to really access the things that feel good to you, but you don't have to limit them to things that you think are possible. And some people get really a little too practical with their intentions. This is really writing out the highest vision for your life, for your intentions. And then some people like to put them up where they can read them. I have found that it works better for me if I kind of tuck them away somewhere and then forget about them. And that comes along with journaling too. It's going to be a little different for the activity we're doing now. But as an example, when I started massage school, I wrote out like what I wanted my life to look like in 5 years. And I stumbled on that entry, that journal entry of my 5-year life plan, probably 10 years after that. So it had a lot of time had passed, but every single one of those things I had accomplished within 5 years without even realizing it. So you really are just co-creating with the universe to create your highest vision.
Yes. And I really do, you mentioned the emotional part of it, and that is really key, is that emotion. So if you're asking for abundance, even if it's financial, think about the emotions. Like, they actually imagine yourself, if you had the financial, abundance, you're living in that moment, you have it. How are you feeling? Is it that you feel secure? Because oftentimes, abundance isn't necessarily abundance. Maybe it's love. Maybe it's a feeling of warmth and joy and not being tied down, or not, like I said, security in life. So you have to think about those pieces and really imagine yourself in that moment, in those feelings. And then that's what you want to write down, and make sure that you're very, that you thank the universe. I always like to be thankful when I write my intentions. I think it's very important. So in the workbook, we do have a space for you to write those down. And I would encourage you to do that. And that way you can access the workbook at a later date. And then you can look back and see what intentions you set. For the activity, we are doing a pretty simple one this time, but it's super fun in combination of that spring energy. And all you really need is a packet of seeds. And you can plant it outside, or you can grab a small pot, and you can just go ahead and open up the seeds and go ahead and plant them. And it's all about creating a physical, nurturing environment for your intentions to grow. And so that's what you have to think about as you're going through this process and you're planting these seeds, is that each seed actually represents one of your intentions, right? And so you want to continue to nurture and grow, and that is a physical representation of nurturing your intentions. And so that's what we're going to do here with that, is we're going to ask you to select a packet of seeds that you love. It doesn't have to be expensive, though I recommend buying a decent package, maybe from a garden store, so you know that they're good seeds. And go ahead and plant them. And, as you're planting the individual seeds, make sure that you're going through and actually acknowledging the intention that you're planting into the ground, right? That you're really asking to grow and that you're going to nurture through this. Do you have anything to say?
No.
All right. Well, Amy, do you want to go ahead and do closing?
Yes. So at this time, I just want to thank you all for coming and for being here with us. We really enjoy this. We love holding circles. We are excited to be able to have this space online so that more people can access the circle. And we hope that you join us again in the future. So as we close out, I just want to, we can go ahead and do it the same way that we open the circle and say 3 times, sky above, earth below, peace within. And then hope you all have a good new moon in Taurus. All right. So sky above, earth below, peace within. Sky above, earth below, peace within. Sky above, earth below, peace within, peace within, peace within. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. And just as a reminder, if you want to continue to do Moon Circle with us, we at Wild Reawakening are really here to build that collective group, and we want to bring women together. We love physical circles, but we also know that sometimes we're not able to do that. And that's why we created this online community. So please be active, please reach out, please share. We ask that you all do it with respect to one another, and know that everybody's here just to share and be heard. And sometimes we don't even need a response, right? We just need to be heard and to be able to share. And so that's important here as we grow. We do have some wonderful community guidelines on our website. And also, we'll be contacting you on how to join the inner circle, is what we're calling our group. So you can continue to build and work with us in community. All right, everyone. Thank you again for joining us. And we will see you for the full moon coming up. Bye, everyone.